well. Apologies for no review yesterday. I was around my sisters for a party and stuff and just did not get time. And I didn't want it to ruin my evening coming on here talking about it. So I thought, I'd enjoy my evening and then come on here tomorrow, today, and talk about that horror show again. David Moyes, just listen, we didn't have Lucas Paquetá and we didn't have Alvarez, which, or Zuma. So, you could look into it and say, okay, there's three really good players he didn't have there. But I think any of us could have seen the issues that would have arose when he put James Ward-Prowse and Soucek in the middle. It was never, ever going to work. That them two, loads of channels, watched a few reviews this morning, parting of the waves with them two in the middle. Mikel Antonio just does nothing. I don't care anymore. I will slag the geezer off now until he's out of that team. He should not be in that team anymore. He's not good enough. Yes, part of it's Moyes, but again, yesterday just sort of proved it. People were coming in and going, you get an assist, Luke, you get an assist. Yeah, he did get an assist, but also he missed a crucial chance that would have put the game out of reach. We started the game not very well. Obviously, we did go 1-0 down. Again, a pure mix-up at the back. And it was a decent goal from them, But then we did show character. I will give it. There was a point in this first half where we did show some real character. And listen, no one can deny absolute world-class goal. The ball was played in by Antonio Kudus. First time, sort of a scissor bicycle. I don't know how you describe the style of play or the style of kick that he pulled off there, but that was a beautiful goal. Sadly, won't be remembered as much now because of the loss. If we would have gone on and won that game, that would have took all the headlines. And then we did go 2-1 up. Obviously, Bowen broke through. Kudus had the shot, and it sort of fell to Bowen. There was loads of VAR checks, but 2-1, really good. I was quite happy at that point. I thought, one more. We'll do it, and we should have got one more. That mix-up with Benrahma and Antonio, I don't know how that happened. Clearly, either Benny didn't give the shout or Antonio's just complete lack of awareness. It's a comedy of errors, that actual chance. Anyway, we did go into, half-time 2-1, and, just in my head, it was like, just start fast again, guys. Just start fast like we did against Arsenal, showed a bit different. We didn't, and then the second half, it was just really poor, really, really poor. Obviously, the ball was whipped in for the own goal from Mavropanos, who I thought was having a decent-ish game up until that point. And I think after the own goal, he sort of headwind a little bit. I think he lost a little bit of his composure and concentration in the game. And then the crosses were just beating us all day long. They was getting whipped in, and just every time they was winning the headers. And then 3-1 down, and just what does he do? Bring on Pablo Fornals, who's so slow. He would have been better, taking up the cam role potentially. And then bringing Cornet or someone on like that, and then brings on, Danny Ings, who's just, what's the point of him even being there? Honestly, the guy, he doesn't care. He probably knows he's going to leave in January. And you've got a young boy on there, who's not signed the contract at the minute, and you just refuse to bring him on. There's one thing with youth is they give you legs, they give you passion, and desire. And we've seen every time that Mobama's played, he's put a good shift in and played well for West Ham, but it just appears that, Moyes just does not want to play him, and it's just a nightmare. That game was won by in-game management as well. Thomas Frank is, one of the best managers at changing games and, seeing issues and solving them, where David Moyes is just a like-for-like manager. The only other sort of really good chance that we had was Fornals when he blasted it over the bar. That was a big chance. Apart from that, it's just awful. And I'm probably, I'm repeating what most people are saying, but if it wasn't for Jarrod Bowen and Kudus, that game could have been a massacre. Loads of people picking out the James Ward-Prowse stuff, is he a Mark Noble with just free kicks, the sideways and backwards? He looked very, very ordinary yesterday. The game was just him and Soucek. The game was just surpassed, and there may as well have not been a centre midfielder. I tweeted after the game. Did West Ham play centre midfield yesterday? Clearly not, because it was just awful, awful. A couple of comments here. Mark says, we can say we didn't have 2 or 3 first choice players, but look how many players Brentford were missing, and they had 6 or 7. Yeah, and I tell you, the banker of the day, mate, was Mupai to score that goal. 45 games in the Premier League without a goal. Rock up West Ham. Go and get yourself a goal, mate. He nearly had 2 in the game as well, which is just absolutely ridiculous. 45 games, and he scores against us. And sorry, just last comment before I carry on. Moyes is worse than useless. He does more than good. He does, mate. Another thing as well, an interesting stat, guys, is West Ham, or Moyes specifically. I think it is something like the last 31 away games, we've lost now 21. That's awful. That is awful, awful form. Stephen J says, morning Luke, is starting to remind me of our Premier League form from last season. It is, mate. You know, the good start is sort of being worked out. Now, yes, listen, Alvarez was a massive loss. If Alvarez was playing yesterday, might have been a slightly different game. He's so good at the mopping up part of the game. But yeah, if we can see the problem, Thomas Frank probably could have identified that, straight away West Ham really poured down the middle. Then why has Moyes not, done something different there? Just to shore it up a bit more in that midfield, because it was awful. It was absolutely awful. Yeah, and we're just sort of dropping down. Now, the problem is we're not going to. I hate saying it as a West Ham fan, because there's always a chance we're not going to get relegated. But now I don't think we're going to really challenge that top 8 anymore. And people have been saying it, about the European campaign and stuff, that if we don't get Europe next season, again, we're going to struggle to keep hold of. If Kudus keeps going the way he's doing, Jesus Christ, he's going to be Salah's replacement. People like Bowen, signed a new contract. Luckily, Paquetá will be off in the summer. If we don't get Europe, we don't become as attractive proposition as we did before. Stephen Joe says, what's Mobama got to do to get a start? I don't know, mate. I don't know. It's not even a start, mate. I'm not sitting here preaching that Mobama should be starting for West Ham. He's a young lad. He's far from want a young lad to be, leading West Ham's line for a Premier League season, just purely because it's a lot of pressure for him. But what has he got to do to get 20 minutes on the pitch, 15 minutes on the pitch, 10 minutes on the pitch? The most he ever gets is like 4 minutes. It's absolutely ridiculous. If all the rumours are true about Steedham, getting more power and, him having Sullivan's sort of ear now, if we do not go out and identify a striker, get rid of Ings, bring in a really good striker, then I give up. Honestly, I give up. We are desperate for new strikers. I just watched the West Ham Fan TV phoning James, really good lad, he's on 20. He said that there's too much sentimentalness around Antonio, and I thought that was a really good comment. There's too much of this. He's a record goal scorer, put some respect on his name. No one can take that away from him. No, he did that. He did what he did. He beat Paolo Di Canigo's record. He scored some important goals for us. He was an absolute beast a couple of years ago. But this guy, this is not Antonio from 2 years ago, 3 years ago. This is Antonio now, 33 years old. He is not good enough to play for West Ham anymore. He's not good enough. People there's too much sentimentalness around our players. Good teams, there's not a sentimentalness. Look at Man City with Cancelo, one of the best left backs in the Premier League at the time in Europe. If he weren't right for the team, they got rid of him. We move on, guys. We have Olympiacos on Thursday night. If we win that, we're probably guaranteed second then and can go through. If we beat Olympiacos and then, go and do Beko to Parla, we'll probably win the group. So, there's that to look forward to. The problem is this 6-game thing with David Moyes that, has to lose 6 games in a row, and then, no manager survives that. The problem is he always gets a sort of winnable game against the Forest, which is coming up. I think it's Burnley after that. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. You know, he's always going to get that win. And listen, I don't want West Ham to lose. It's really hard to describe the way it is, but someone summed it up quite nicely. Like, what's he got? What if he gets five losses and a draw, or five losses and a win, and then he goes on 5 losses and a win again? Is that enough? Do you know what I mean? It's got to end now. This project's done now. Look, David Moyes, your time's done now. You know, the sad thing for me is I think he does get to the end of the season, because I don't think we'll get relegated, and they're happy with that. They're happy with purgatory. You know, sitting mid-table, a little bit of a cup run, and then that'll do. Yeah, poor, very, very poor, guys. It's getting hard to watch West Ham again. You know, after that, such a good lift after beating Arsenal in the week, and then a performance like that where it's just absolute dross. Anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Me and Paul may be back for a podcast in a couple of hours' time, so keep your eyes out for that, where me and Paul can discuss it a little bit deeper. Again, apologies for no review last night. I was around my sister's. Ironic says, I agree with you that we aren't going to get relegated. However, everybody said that the last time when we actually did, because we had the best players in the country and were mostly international. Yeah, mate, the thing is, you can sleepwalk into it, but there are some terrible teams this year. I'd like to think that we can just, you know, we're good enough to get sort of, you know, what we are, 17 points. We're good enough to get another 8-9 wins to stop us going down. Next 5 Premier League games are Forest, Burnley, Palace, Spuds and Fulham. Yeah, 4 winnable games there. You know, Forest is a winnable game. Burnley's a winnable game. Guaranteed they get the first win against us. Palace, bit of a dodge side for us, isn't it? Spurs are fantastic. Well, I hate them, but they're fantastic at the minute. And then obviously Fulham's, again, a little bit of dodge one, Fulham. Anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it there. We, like I say, may be back in a couple of hours' time with a podcast, so keep your eyes open for that. Please hit the like button before you leave. 10 of you is watching now, so go on, get that up to at least 10. And yeah, subscribe if you're new. Come on, you irons for now. We may be back later. Let's go.